we seem to have this idea that we have to heal our emotions. And healing our emotions is a bit of a misunderstanding, because it's kind of like saying that when we eat food, we need to heal our food. We don't need to heal the food. We just need to process and digest it, you see? Food that isn't digested gets clogged and it creates pain. Emotion or sensations or energy that doesn't get digested gets congested and creates pain. So what we're doing is we're not necessarily healing emotions, and the approach I want to share with you is an ultimate approach. It's an ultimate approach because it requires to do nothing. It requires a complete surrender, and the path that we take for that surrender is very specific. Now, we don't just want to focus on the emotion specifically, because focusing on the emotion specifically, the only reason we would do that is because we want to get rid of it. And that's the same across the whole board. First of all, we ignore our emotions, then we get spiritual and we want to heal our emotions. They're the same thing. Because the only reason we would want to heal it is if we want to get rid of it. And an emotion cannot be processed if we want to get rid of it, which means that an emotion can only be fully processed in complete surrendering to it. And you can only completely surrender to it if the emotion is no longer a problem. Because why would we not want to get rid of something that we believed was fundamentally a problem? It would be impossible. Because by definition of seeing it as a problem is by definition, we want to remove it. If it wasn't a problem, we wouldn't want to remove it. And if it wasn't a problem, we wouldn't think it was a problem. So we can't have one without the other. So if it's a problem, and you're not going to have, whatever you do, you will not be able to get rid of it if you see it as a problem, you see? Because all problems need to be solved, and you cannot solve that which cannot be solved. So you're in an infinite loop if you keep doing that. So what we're doing in this approach is simply recognizing that, for one. And what we need to see is, like, I'll give you an example of when I was young, and I shared this on a meeting the other day. Let's just think of the example. My parents were arguing when I was 5 or 6 years old. It was a very aggressive argument. I just ignored the experience. I didn't want to experience it. So I focused on the cartoon I was watching. And I just completely ignored, but I couldn't not ignore it. So I'm watching it, but it's like I'm experiencing it in my peripherals, you see? And eventually the argument passed and blah, blah, blah. And then my body went, oh, okay, so in order to survive, because in the experience that happened, there was obviously fear, anxiety, panic, adrenaline, survival, you see? It was survival. The survival triggers were triggering in my system. So the body didn't know a difference between parents arguing, lion going to attack and kill me, you see? So what happened then was, because I learned to ignore the experience and I survived, nervous system went, oh wow, what a fantastic approach. If you just ignore everything, you'll survive. So then that's what I did. Again and again and again. Anytime I felt the emotion, avoid, don't feel it, don't look at it, just to remove it, avoid it, do whatever I can to escape it. And that's what we're doing with everything, with all of our emotions, the ones that we don't like. We just avoid and remove. We just do this too. We don't want to see it. We feel it and we know it's there, but we just don't want to look at it. An emotion is simply a belief mixed with a feeling or a sensation. The sensation is always fine. The sensation, no problem with. The thing that we struggle to let go of is the thought that holds on to it. It's like, think of a thought as like some type of belief that traps the feeling. And the feeling or the energy, it cannot disappear, it cannot get processed if we still have a thought that ties to it. So the best approach to begin with is you need to solve that thought. And you have to be very, very self-trusting and courageous. You have to be the leading authority on your truth in your life. If you still believe X, Y, and Z, and they have more authority, there's Mr. Scientist, Mr. Doctor, has more authority on your life than you'll have a hard time processing your experience. because you'll constantly be looking outwardly for somebody else's opinion, somebody else's advice, somebody else's blah, 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 to be able to process your own experience. So the first thing that's really important to see is that you are the governing factor of your life. You are the highest authority on anything that deems to be true or untrue. So the first thing we do is then look at that thought, and we need to see, is it true or not? Because if it's not true, bam, done deal, see you later, we don't need to worry about it anymore. Then we just go to this sensation and understand what this sensation is. So when a thought is seen to be untrue, we don't need to do much about it. It's like finding out Santa Claus is real or the tooth fairy is not real. I don't need to go to the North Pole to figure that out. I don't need to stay up all night with one eye open, waiting for the tooth fairy to either come or not come to see if it was my parents dropping a coin under my pillow. We don't really need to do that stuff. So likewise, if we see that a thought isn't true, we know it's not true. You see, we can drop the thought. The main thing is now the emotion. I want to share with you the highest approach, because this is the most effortless approach. It's the startless path. The minute you start is the minute you stop, because you already are being this. And it's the path of forgiveness. Forgiveness is not just, oh, I accept what you've done wrong. That's a relative forgiveness. It's like the equivalent of saying, oh, I love that cup. Oh, I love that dress. Oh, I love that t-shirt. It's like, yes, we're using the word love, and it has some connection with what we mean, but it's not really the real thing, you see? Same as with forgiveness. That's a relative forgiveness that we all know. Forgiving someone for something they've done wrong. The ultimate forgiveness is the nature of what we are. The forgiveness is the center of the now. You cannot get further back than forgiveness, because it's the pure, it's like so accepting that it collapses in on itself and creates the entirety of experience, the entirety of all creation. It's pure acceptance. It's so empty that it's full. It's just absolute, infinite. Just, you can't put words there. You see, this is where words fall short. And that forgiveness is there every single moment. It is all our experience is a full giving. We are giving all things the freedom to take place completely as they are. Every single thing in your experience is a gift. Whether it's an illusion or not, it doesn't matter. Anything that you experience, real or illusory, is a gift. The cup on your kitchen table, the glow of the light on the side of this armchair, the car moving across the TV. Everything is God saying, hey, look at this. Isn't this amazing? Isn't this absolutely fantastic? I don't know what it is, but it's great. It's like a child coming and giving you a picture that they drew from school, or finding a really cool stick that they found, or a snail, or they're just presenting something to you with awe, with wonder, with fascination. Everything that you experience is like God presenting to you the fascination of life. And our emotions are one of those seeming things. The emotion, the sensation that we feel, is a part of the gift. It's a part of everything that is a gift. It's like, why would we reject that? You see? So what's happened is that from young, we have learned to avoid, reject. Now that was a worthy approach. When we were 5, 6 years old, parents arguing, the body learned, yes, ignoring is equal survival. Fantastic. But we're not a child anymore. You see, we're intelligent, autonomous beings. We are capable of things that we probably never even realized. So in this moment, I want you to be this forgiveness. Notice that everything in your experience is happening. Every perception, it's just effortlessly appearing, right? There's no transition. It's just absolute happeningness, welcomingness. Nothing's being prevented from happening. It's all just happening. There's this baseline welcome to everything. And that is the ultimate forgiveness. It's the forgiving everything, the freedom to take place completely as it is. And now what we want to do is be that in this moment with all of our experience. Let it all take place. Don't just let the feeling that you have that you really, really hate and want to get rid of. Let everything take place. People say, oh, I need to feel my emotions in order to get rid of it. I need to feel my emotion in order to heal it. What we're really saying is, I need to feel this emotion in order to get rid of it. I need to feel this emotion because I don't want it to be there. That's not forgiveness. That's not love. That's like your child coming up to you and just disregarding his gift. That's like a child coming up to you, look, Mum, I painted this picture for you today. Look, there it is. And you're just going, and then just throwing it away, or just being like, sorry, honey, I don't have time to see that. So what we're doing is we're giving appreciation to everything. We're seeing everything with equal eyes. We're not just looking at this emotion like it's a problem. We're looking at everything like it's a gift and experiencing it with this freedom. We're giving it the freedom to be there. And the thought may say, oh my gosh, well, I don't want to feel this. Well, then why don't you want to feel it? You'd go back to the thought. I don't want to feel it because it's uncomfortable. Well, what about it is uncomfortable? Oh, it's uncomfortable because it feels intense. Well, where is the intensity? Oh, it's intense because it's, I don't know if there is an intensity to it. Well, no, of course there's not an intensity to it. If you did this to your leg, they could just push your leg, that is going to be more intense than any emotion that you've ever felt in your life. You see? So the intensity is not really there. Say, is this emotion, this intensity? If you put your hand on your leg, which one is more intense? The one that's on your leg or the one that's there? Oh, it's the one, well, actually, they're kind of the same. There's not really much difference. Yeah, absolutely, there's not much difference. So where's the discomfort? Oh, it's just very sharp. Well, if it's sharp, it must have an edge. Can you find an edge? No. Can you find any shape? Can you find a border? Is there a part where the emotion starts and the emotion ends? No, there's not. Well, it can't have a size or a shape, so it can't be sharp. So sharp is another concept that we add. So we take these thoughts and we just uproot the thoughts. And then eventually we go, actually, there's not much going on there in this feeling. It's not as sharp as I thought. It's not as uncomfortable as I thought. It's not actually going to kill me. And we uproot these thoughts. So we're vigorous to our experience. We see that it's not true. These thoughts that we have that says this emotion is scary, they're telling us that because they're saying that there's a potential we can die there. There's a potential we might die. Just like there was a potential we may have died when the lion tried to come and kill us, or the parents were arguing and the nervous system was shook and we went into fight or flight. Now this emotion it's almost like the body thinks the same of that. So it wants to avoid it. But the one thing it cannot stand is the light of understanding. And this is that understanding. So now we can experience all of our experience. Don't just focus on the emotion, not just the one thing. Allow, surrender, give all things the freedom to exist. Let it be complete surrender to everything. And that's it. Now, if you at this stage the emotion's not a problem,
I thought I'd add a little gift. I'll put the full masterclass that I give in my community on this in this video description, or maybe I can put it somewhere on the video screen. Click that if you want to see the full thing.
At this stage, you just surrender. You forgive. You forgive yourself, forgive the world, forgive everything, everyone. Just forgive existence. Give existence the freedom to exist. And in that moment, you will realize that you won't be suffering the problem anymore. There'll be no problem left. You see, it's an effortless approach. It's so little effort that there's 0 steps, and the first 0th step is to not start. I have a free community. I take people through these types of things every single week. All the guidance, you can learn this approach directly from me. And if this is helpful, the link is in the description. You can join there. Have an amazing day, guys. Take care.